Okay, so we're on. Let me pull up some of these questions. If you guys are on live, I mean, we don't add more questions now. We have enough questions. I'm sorry the lighting is not great. We're still out. It's super bright through my window, so it's hard to, we had to leave the lights on. I hate these lights, but I usually have them off all day. So let me find the questions again in the group. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Okay. So I'm just going to go through these in order. I don't see anybody on here. Oh, wait. No, this is going on the group. Okay, so we're on the group. If anybody wants to join me now, feel free. It should be popping up on your feeds. But anyway, so we'll just head through here. Okay, now, before we start, guys, if you ask personal questions, like about yourself, in the Facebook group or here, understand that you're talking about your medical issues, and so you're waiving your privacy. Okay, if you want me to talk about someone theoretical or a friend of mine or whatever, just put the question that way. Don't be like, I don't know, I have this health problem, and what do I do? If you ask questions that way, you're gonna get answers. And if the answers are embarrassing or whatever, that's just what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna answer it. I'm not gonna say, if you want me to talk directly to you in the answer to these questions, ask it that way. If you want me to answer in a more general thing, answer that way. I mean, I generally answer generally, but specifically there may be questions that I'm going to ask. So, constipation is the first thing. Okay. Hair testing and constipation. High calcium slows things down. So you're generally going to see high calcium on a hair test, and you'll often see low potassium, which is the other part of low thyroid function on a hair test. So, first thing to do with potassium is I always tell people you need to get more, first thing with constipation is they need to get more potassium. Generally, that's a thing. People are constipated, and we tell them, eat more fruits and vegetables. What's in fruits and vegetables? Potassium. Even if people are eating enough fruits and vegetables, they're probably not getting enough potassium or vitamin C, but that's a whole nother matter. Potassium helps you poop because it helps your thyroid. Daily basis for potassium. And what I mean by that is if yesterday you had a good amount of potassium and you felt more energetic and you were pooping better yesterday, and then you come to today and your potassium intake sucks that day and you're not pooping, well, that's, let me turn this just a little bit. Potassium is a day-to-day thing, okay? If you get enough today and you don't get enough tomorrow, you will feel it. That's just the way sodium and potassium works. So you have a terrible intake of one of those in a day, or a highly imbalanced intake of one of them in a day, you're going to feel it that day. The cool thing about that is the potassium is the thing you can fix the quickest, that has the biggest impact. 4 grams a day is the goal. Most people need to do at least 1 potassium food a meal, if not an hour, or more than 1 serving a meal. And then the 50-50 salt, which is in the potassium instructions in the folder. So I'll be making folders today for this group and for my private consulting practitioner stuff group. It will not be exactly the same as the client group. I will just put things in there as I mention them. So potassium instructions will be 1. So potassium is the biggest thing. So we get potassium. Then whenever we're getting into bowels and high calcium, a tendency towards high calcium, it's not always high calcium. You can be constipated with low calcium because you can still have super low potassium with it, and that would tend to give thyroid symptoms. Let me back up a second. Calcium to potassium ratio. Sorry, I'm doing the different hands. I'm looking at my picture on the screen and trying to decide which one to have up. Typical thyroid stuff. on a hair test, high calcium, higher than 40, low potassium. Most of the time people are around 1 or 2, maybe a 3. This is the thyroid ratio. High thyroid on hair test, calcium to potassium ratio. If this ratio is high, too much calcium, not enough potassium, low thyroid symptoms. So high calcium, low potassium, a high ratio, lots of this to not enough of this, low thyroid symptoms. Now, could somebody still have, let's say, a calcium of 30, so they're low on calcium, and their potassium's a 1. So you have a 30 to 1 ratio of 30. We want that ratio at about a 4. So you see there's still a problem. They have low calcium, but they have even lower potassium, and so their ratio still sucks. Potassium is the biggest thing that people can fix. So, okay. Other things that can easily help with constipation, if you want to use a laxative, or if you have somebody who needs to poop, they're just like, I need to poop, milk of magnesia. It's a source of magnesium. It's not very well absorbed, so what it does is it gives a bowel movement from the bowel tolerance. You reach bowel tolerance very quickly with it. It's not habit forming. I mean, okay, so is it habit forming? You want to get really technical, we have to have magnesium to live. So technically, if you didn't get magnesium enough, you wouldn't live. So technically, we are addicted to it. We have to have it to live, just like air, right? So is it habit forming? Technically, nutrition is habit forming because you have to have good nutrition to live, but it doesn't create a dependence upon it like senna or cascara or the other laxative herbs do, because they just irritate the gut. And then if you don't irritate the gut, if you don't keep irritating the gut, you don't keep pooping. So milk of magnesia as a magnesium laxative. Could you just use whatever magnesium sitting around the house to make yourself poop? Sure. You could use enough vitamin C to make yourself poop. You can make yourself poop. That's not what we're trying to do. But potassium deficiency and a magnesium deficiency will cause you not to poop. How do we fix magnesium? The easiest? Topical magnesium. I'll put the magnesium video in the folder for the group. Topical magnesium is pretty much necessary for just about everybody. Until I'm proven wrong with a hair test, I assume that people need topical magnesium to get their magnesium up, and no food will not do it. Sorry. So we have magnesium and potassium as minerals to help poop. If people aren't drinking enough water, they will not poop well, because things are kind of dry, and dry things don't slide as well as wet things. So you mentioned your intake, and so you said here, Maddie, you said low dose of water when thirsty. This is a very, very important philosophical statement about the way you described it. You may have just been trying to describe it quickly. I am not after, let me back up. Am I against vitamin D? No. People think I might be because they see one side of it and they go, oh, he's anti-vitamin D. That's crazy. That's dumb. And I go, no, I want vitamin D to be correct. Or as we call it, the Goldilocks effect. You want it not to be too hot, not to be too cold. You want it to be just right. Okay. So what do I want with water intake? I don't want it to be too much. I don't want it to be not enough. I want it to be just right. How do we get it just right? Pee 4 to 6 times a day, about-ish, 4 to 6 urinations a day. And you want your pee to be light yellow. If your pee is clear, your body is showing you that you have too much fluids coming in by peeing clear. You are dumping clear water. Your body is saying, I have too much water. I need to get rid of it. That's what it says. So if when we look at the signs from the body, if the body is saying, I'm getting too much water, I'm dumping it, maybe we don't have so many fluids. Remember, if a vet saw an animal pee clear, go find a vet, ask them, what does it mean when an animal pees clear? And they'll be like, oh, that could mean this, it could mean this, it could mean this. I mean, it could be diabetic animal. Animals don't ever pee clear. You ever seen a horse pee? Like, it's golden. Like, why do we have the saying, don't eat yellow snow? What does yellow snow mean? What color is urine supposed to be? Yellow. It's just nature. It's what we're designed for. I'll tell people, think about this. If you closed your eyes and you picture, you're just sitting there quiet and somebody says urine, what comes up in your mind as the color? Yellow. Pee should be yellow. It should not be clear. It should not be dark and smelly. So to say a low dose of water, like if you're going too far and you're not getting enough water, you're not going to poop well. So can too much water like suppress thyroid function? Yeah, so then constipation goes along with low thyroid function. So you can drink yourself into not pooping, but you can also underdrink into not pooping. This is why we can't always just say constipation is too much fluid or not enough fluid. This is the world you guys have entered with this. This is the world of gray areas and having to use your brain based on the evidence that is in front of you. That's why I'm not for everybody. I demand too much thinking in a situational aspect. Everything has context. Everything has a situation. Everything has information that's important to it. So like my daughter, at my house, my wife is like, she's still stuck a little bit in she'd rather err on the side of more fluids rather than less, which is probably a little safer. But my daughter will not drink enough water in general. I mean, she goes to dance. She's doing like 18 hours of dance a week, right? She needs water. She's exercising 18 hours a week. And she doesn't drink enough water, and she gets constipated. She knows the fix. She's not necessarily choosing to do it, but that's an example of where I know it's not enough water causing constipation. So anyway, that's because I don't know how often she urinates during the day, but I'm guessing it's not very much. And my wife is always hammering on her about drinking more water, and she's 9, and so she's a little girl, doesn't want to listen, all that stuff. But anyway, water is, or fluids. It's always fluids. Don't ever let anybody dupe you into the idea that like if you drink coffee, it doesn't count as a liquid. You drink enough coffee, you're just going to be peeing clear, right? Your body's saying you've put too much fluid into me, and now I'm peeing clear because I'm trying to dump the water. Don't ever let anybody dupe you with like, oh, if you drink a beer, it takes out more fluids than it puts in. Just fluids are fluids. Go by your pee. Simple answer. Go by what you see, not by what some joker told you on the internet or what some, the doctor's expert on TV said, or Dr. Oz, for God's sake. Anyway, so exercise always helps with pooping. You mentioned here active lifestyle. So I would guess the problem, and the thing to always remember is if you eat a ton of fiber, too much fiber for anybody, think of fiber as exercise for your guts, okay? Fiber doesn't disappear, your guts just work against it. You just move it through. So it's like exercise. Think of probiotics as exercise, the bacteria in your gut as exercise for your immune system. Think of fiber as exercise for your gut. Humans are not healthy without exercise. So if your guts don't get exercise, nothing happens. If you don't have enough bacteria in here stimulating your immune system in a good way, it doesn't get its exercise. It's not as strong as it should be. And if you don't exercise your body, you're not moving and contracting things in here that helps you poop. So do those things. And you have fermented veggies, so we got that. So see, like you're knocking off, two beers 4 to 5 days a week. If there's a gluten problem there, that's going to impact your guts. So, okay, taking magnesium and potassium supplements before bed. If somebody said that to me, I'd say magnesium pills suck. I don't use them hardly at all anymore. Got to do topical. Potassium supplements. A potassium pill most days. Most potassium pills are 99 milligrams per pill. The ones I used to use, which I don't use very often anymore, is potassium citrate from Pure Encapsulations. That was up to 200 milligrams per pill. How powerful is food compared to the pills? Common pill is 99 milligrams. A banana has 400 to 500 milligrams. So one banana is worth 4 pills. Avocado's like 900 to 1,000. Avocado's worth 9 or 10 pills. So foods, and the 50-50 salt is in a teaspoon, 1,500 milligrams. So a teaspoon of 50-50 salt, it's not that hard to use, is worth 15 potassium pills. So just because somebody takes a potassium supplement doesn't imply that they're getting enough potassium. So I would be looking 4,000 milligrams. Most people busting their butt to eat potassium all day don't get anywhere near 4,000. I have some people who get crazy amounts like 8,000, but most people, I mean, I had 2 bananas for breakfast. People would hear 2 bananas with my breakfast, and people would say, "Oh my gosh, 2 bananas! Gosh, you got tons of potassium. Is that too much?" A banana's 400 to 500, so we're looking at 800 to 1,000 of the 4,000 that I'm suggesting, which is below the 4,700 milligrams per day that the Institute of Medicine is suggesting. So I'm even erring on the low side, and people can hardly hit mine. It's not easy. If you do the teaspoon of 50-50 salt a day, the teaspoon technique, which is measuring out a teaspoon of it, and then for yourself in a little bowl, and then your job that day is to use that bowl of 50-50 salt up. Guaranteed 1,500 milligrams of potassium in there, and you get to salt your food, and it tastes like salt, so it works. People who do that start to notice improvements in that stuff right away. Then, well, so Maddie, I don't know if I don't recall if I did a hair test analysis for you. I didn't look at the chart first, but if you have high calcium and that's not being dealt with, the constipation problem's probably going to stick around. Because vitamin D problems, if you saw my cod liver oil video from the other week, vitamin D problems don't go away, and people can create vitamin D problems from too much sun. And you're living in Hawaii, so there's no shortage of sun there, and I'm guessing you get out there. So the classic study on can too much sun cause too much calcium deposits was a study done on Israeli lifeguards, and their rate of kidney stones was way higher than the general population. That's where you can just go, oh, okay, so I think lifeguards, right? Sun, they live in it. And I've had people who are like previously sun worshipers for 20 years, and this one woman, I swear I've been working with her for like a year and a half on her 200 calcium, and I cannot break it. Don't know what's going on, but she's super tan, and she's always been laying out, and she doesn't do it anymore, but she did. So too much sun could cause constipation. So then I see that you're talking about the 50-50 salt. That's something that, yeah, getting enough of that, because a lot of people think they use salt, and then when I tell them a teaspoon in a day, they're like, oh, I like used a tiny bit of that whole teaspoon. Where I have other people who are like, oh yeah, teaspoon, I go through that by lunch, and then they use another one practically at dinner. It works for them. They feel better. The more potassium you get, the better you will feel. So you have if there is a thyroid thing. Oh, and vitamin D, in the other stuff, I don't have time to go over it right now, but vitamin D causes calcium to go up and potassium to go down. Remember what I told you about the thyroid ratio? Vitamin D causes calcium to go up and potassium to go down. Low thyroid function is when the calcium is high and the potassium is low. Living in Hawaii, having plenty of sunlight, and maybe going out and as much as you can might just do this. I can't fix that problem until I know what it is. That's why the saying that we test, we don't guess. I don't go messing with people's calcium unless I know what it is. So I think we covered that one. Kathy, vitamin C questions. Okay. Very important conceptual thing about vitamin C here. Vitamin C, there's different types. There's 2 major groups. I'm not going to go into the liposomal because I just don't care about that stuff. It does not have the track record that ascorbic acid or sodium ascorbate or the other mineral ascorbates do. So, ascorbic acid is acidic. So, some people could probably, and it's acidic in it. Just think of it as being acidic in a special, like a vitamin C way, where you need it, but you're bringing in a vitamin C, which you need, and it's acidic. Okay, well, why is that important? Because the mineral ascorbates, sodium ascorbate, potassium ascorbate, magnesium ascorbate, calcium ascorbate, also known as ester C. There's even zinc ascorbate out there, okay? Those are all automatically buffered. So they are not acidic. They're more like neutral. So Kathy, when you're asking me about vitamin C capsules and intestinal sounds or flatulence, we'll go over a couple things here. First, the progression. So if you're putting somebody on vitamin C, there's like, if they go up slowly, there's a dose. So as they go up in dose, let's say they're going up 1 gram a week. I tell people to go up 1 gram a week. They're going up 1 gram a week. So 1 gram the first week, 2 grams the second week, 3 grams the third week. I used to have people go up a gram a day. I don't do that anymore. So we avoid going up too fast. 4 grams a week, 5 grams. So let's say they're up to 4 grams, everything's fine. They go up to 5 grams. First day, they start getting more gas. Oh, what's that? That's okay. That's the first stage of you're getting close. So vitamin C has bowel tolerance. If you take too much of it, you will get to loose bowels. That's normal. Everybody knows this. It does not mean vitamin C is bad for somebody. It means that their body said, I've got enough vitamin C for now. That's all I can absorb from this dose. That's all I want from this dose. Let the rest go. Get it out of here. So, on the road to bowel tolerance, there's 3 stages. Gas is the first stage. So you know if you're getting gas from vitamin C, it means one of 2 things. Again, we have to think. It's either too much in that one dose, or it's too much over the course of the day. So you've just accumulated enough through the day, and your body's like, look, we're full, we're good. We had breakfast, we had lunch, we had dinner. I'm full now. I don't want dessert. Okay, so there's like vitamin C tolerance through the day, and then there's in the single dose. You can get loose bowels from either one. Okay, but usually if you go slowly, you get the warning signs. First is gas. Second is gurgling. The gurgling you get when you feel like, oh, maybe I'm going to have to go to the bathroom pretty soon. This doesn't feel good. And then there's loose bowels, which is usually like 1 episode, maybe 2 minor ones. If you go up slowly, you'll know when you hit it. That's why we go up slow, is so you can see the road signs. Oh, I got gas now. I wonder if that's from the vitamin C. Huh. Let's say that's at 3 grams, and you go up to 4 grams, and you got a little more gas, and now you got gurgling. Then you're like, oh, okay, Dr. Smith said gas and gurgling. The next stage is loose bowels. So that was, what did I say, 3 grams, 4 grams. You try 5 grams, because at 4 you had gas and gurgling. You try 5 in a day, and all of a sudden, after your second dose, let's say, you get gurgling and loose bowels. Okay, 5 is too much for the day for you, so you back off to 4. Very simple. So there can be gas and gurgling from too much, and it's a marker that we're getting close to tolerance. Okay. Over time, that can shift a little bit. Your gut can get a little more tolerant of vitamin C, and you might be able to take more without having that issue. Okay. Next, sorry, just trying to get me a little more centered. Next, we go into gas and gurgling from different types of vitamin C. There's neutral, mineral ascorbates, vitamin C, and there's acidic. Don't ever think acidic means bad. Here's how if you ever thought acid meant bad. Okay, protein is made of amino acids. Fat is made of amino acids. So while I don't like the low carb and the keto cult think, humans only need fat and protein to live. We don't technically have to have carbs. True. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. But protein is amino acids. Fat is fatty acids. To live, we must have acids. So get the concept of acids are what's killing you out of your head. Can you be too acidic? Of course. Can you be too alkaline? Of course. It happens to like raw vegans all the time. So we're always at Goldilocks effect. Always think there's bad on either side. Overhydration could kill you. Underhydration could kill you. We want to be somewhere in here. It may be skewed more towards like maybe having a little more water than you needed is better than having a little less water. So maybe you're kind of like at this point on the continuum, but there's a point on the continuum, like the way I feel about animal protein consumption. There's like, let me get it on the screen so I can have it on here. Wait, there we go. We have the screen. So we have, let's say there's like vegans here, no animal products whatsoever. And then there's like the keto, paleo, like all meat all the time. The answer's somewhere in between, because there's never been long-term, well-surviving vegan groups of humans. They must have figured something out. Maybe being a pure vegan wasn't the best choice. But we're getting to see in the West, the people eating way too much meat. They're getting heavier, they're getting sicker, they're getting lots more problems. So, and then there's the blue zones. If you didn't see my blue zones Facebook Live on my personal page, that's where I went over this stuff. The answer is somewhere in between, but it's probably, it's more towards, sorry, I did the wrong one. It's more towards the less meat side. It's not no meat. The answer is not no meat, ever. But the real answer is probably like, think of it as like a vegan vegetarian who eats meat. That's like the idea. Okay, so you eat meat, but not every meal. Probably not even most of the time 2 meals a day. Maybe just once a day, and maybe even less than that, maybe 3 times a week or stuff like that. Depends on the person. I tell people to figure out the least amount of meat you can eat that has you feeling the best. That's the sweet spot. So, wait, my thing went out. So I think I got that. So what I always tell people with now, as I talk to them about this stuff, vitamin C, if you try ascorbic acid and you don't feel good, try sodium ascorbate or one of the other mineral ascorbates. See if you feel better. If you try potassium ascorbate and you don't feel good, try sodium ascorbate. I'm not a big fan of magnesium ascorbate. It makes people poop from the magnesium, get to bowel tolerance, diarrhea from the magnesium way too quick. It doesn't work very good for the magnesium, so I don't like that one anymore. And then the last one is calcium ascorbate, which I would only ever use if somebody had low calcium on a hair test and I felt like they needed more calcium in their diet. Most of the time, I don't feel that way. You have to realize, think of how long humans survived before dairy. Cow milk has 4 times as much calcium in it as human milk does. So were our mothers designed wrong? Cow's milk also has vitamin D in it. Human milk has very little vitamin D. Were we designed wrong? Or maybe is it just that we don't need anywhere near as much calcium and we don't need as much vitamin D as infants as cows do? So, anyway, that's the calcium. That's the calcium rant for right now. Sorry, let me find the next one. So, Kathy, for you, in terms of that, we're coupled, just to recap, it could be too much in one dose. It could be too much over the course of the day. It could be that the ascorbic acid doesn't get along with you and a mineral ascorbate might. We've got a bunch of things it could be. So troubleshooting vitamin C is important. Okay. Okay, we're talking about excessive hunger. Okay. Well, Erica, actually, I don't know if you're listening, but for me to go through this, I would want to incorporate the hair test results in it. And I don't know if you're on this right now. Let me see if you're on here. Oh, there's 4 people and Julie and I are one of them, each, or 2 of them, I should say, and then We have Yannick and somebody else here. Anyway, the big things that I would think of with excessive appetite. One would be, obviously level of activity, because people start raising their activity and they get really hungry. So these are just troubleshooting things that you would want to think on, and I'm talking in a general sense here. But the big thing that, if you guys have seen my posts, we're talking about nutrient depletion in the foods. It's real, it exists, it's going on. One of the big concepts that I read that I posted in that article, which I think is really probably true, is that, so whether you believe in global warming or the next ice age is coming or whatever, I think actually both are coming at the same time, but that's a whole nother story. The level of carbon dioxide in the air has risen. That's one thing scientists can agree on because they just measure it. How much carbon dioxide is in the air? Okay. Oh, Erica, can I use your, can I pull up your hair test and share it with people if we were going to go over this stuff? Just do another post, just so I can have your permission. Okay, cool, great. So I'll get that. So her hair test. Oh, the hard copy. Yes, Julie's handing me the hair test. Okay. Now Erica and I have been doing this for a while now, and okay. And Erica's had quite a few improvements. So I'm just going to show it here. If you can see over here. So let me move my hands out of the way. Here's the thing we're going to look at. This is the main thing for practitioner types, or if if you're trying to learn this stuff. Look at the calcium. Calcium is low. Okay. The whole hair test in general. This is a pattern. This is not a rule. So people get into cultish thinking when they get into rules. This is a pattern. 75 to 80% of the nutrients on a hair test will want to follow calcium. They try to follow calcium around. This is what we would call a 4 lows pattern. Not that oh God, if you go and look up 4 lows and you start seeing Dr. Wilson and all that stuff, he's crazy. 4 lows is, yeah. Anyway, 4 lows just means calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium are low. That's all it means. Some of the ideas on 4 lows is that it may be just a genetic pattern. It may just be how some people are. There may be a group of people who have low calcium, and that's their normal state. Most people don't have this. Most people tend towards high. Kind of like some people trend towards iron deficiency anemia, but most people trend towards iron overload. Okay, so we have a low pattern here. So you see how calcium's low, right? And then you go across, and if you're, when I'm saying low, I mean generally in this, for the most part. If you take my webinar, you know that this is not a hard and fast rule, but this is just a general way of looking at the trend. Low would be anything that's down in the dark shaded area down here. Some minerals I would consider low if they're in this lightly shaded area here. So we see lots of stuff right there. It's just a trend. It's a pattern. So she's kind of one of my low people. So when we're thinking about excess appetite, if the food is depleted, okay, food doesn't have enough of what it's supposed to have in it. This is true. Oh, back to the carbon dioxide. So what scientists are thinking is that the increase in carbon dioxide in the air, plants love carbon dioxide. They love it. They use it to grow. So they take in all this carbon dioxide, and what they're actually doing is, because the carbon dioxide level is higher than it normally should be for them, they're able to grow faster, but there's only still the same amount of nutrition in the soil, or maybe there's less. So that plant that's growing faster, there's either the same amount or less minerals, vitamins, everything in the soil. And so you get a fruit or vegetable that has less nutrients in it. As the carbon dioxide goes up, the plants keep growing faster and there's still the same amount of minerals or less. And so my theory as extended upon that would be that if your food, so think of your body has, I'm going to break it down to two simple needs. It has macronutrient needs like protein, fat, carbohydrates, fluids. I include fluids in there. And it has micronutrient needs, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, whatever. But the essential vitamins and minerals are the most important. Okay, so if your body says in a day, I need to get this many calories and this many nutrients, micronutrients, and the food has less micronutrients in it, your body will continue eating to satisfy the nutrient requirements, even if it means you go over on the calories. Do you see? Because the body's saying, look, I don't want to have a magnesium deficiency. So it makes people want to eat more chocolate, drink more coffee, do these other foods that are high in magnesium because their body's saying, I like these things. I'm going to make you like them because I want more magnesium. As one example, because there's not enough magnesium in the food. But your body will say, I will eat more than I need to in terms of calories to get what I need in terms of nutrients. It's just your body trying to survive. It's just doing what it's wired to do. It's, would you want to have died and then you were like, well, why didn't my body tell me I needed more vitamin C? And then your body goes, well, I didn't think you wanted to eat 2 extra oranges a day. You say, I would have done it. Just tell me. This is your body telling you to get your micronutrients, even if it means there's too many macros. Okay. So what we're trying to do when we are trying to, when we are gaining weight, there's two, everybody talks about diet and exercise. Exercise, you just need to do it to be healthy. Don't worry, exercise doesn't cause you to lose weight. But healthy and proper weight tend to move together. It's a normal thing. We can't fight that. Exercise has to be done to be healthy. So exercise is linked to being healthy. Healthy is linked to proper weight. Exercise has to happen, but don't think about exercise as what you need to lose weight. We have to work on the diet. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to make sure the body is getting its basic needs of calories. So we have to make sure that the calories and the protein and the fat and the water are right. Maybe less than you're doing now, because if you're tending towards the weight going up, we can work on the calories, the total intake a little bit, and we just want to tweak it down just like, like 100 calories. It can be just easier choices. Like I know there are choices that I make when I start eating my kids' leftovers at meals, when I start coming home and having chips before dinner, when I start drinking more calories from fluids, when I start eating after dinner, when more grains start creeping into my diet, more dairy like cheese creeps into my diet. Like I know if I start seeing myself falling apart weight-wise, I can look at my patterns and I know. Been eating the kids' leftovers, been eating after dinner, been eating chips before dinner, been drinking more orange juice, whatever. It's all, I can look at it and go, these are the little things that when I fix those things, oh my God, the scale responds. And I'm not dieting. I'm just like, don't eat chips before dinner, dummy. Like that's okay. But what we have a trend on the 4 lows, the whole test looks deficient. So if we're talking about nutrient deficiency, that would be, in theory, something that is going on. There's the idea of the genetic pattern. There's the idea of there's a trend towards nutrient deficiency. And what I'm telling you about nutrient deficiency is if the body knows it's there, it's going to try to have you eat more. Eat more calories, because by eating more calories, you can hopefully get enough food. Nutrients, micronutrients. Can we do that with the food today? I don't know. So then we do the supplements. That's why we do the supplements, because the food doesn't have it. So How do we get the whole test to come up? I have the low calcium video, which I'll put on there. If anybody's, let me take some notes so I remember to do. I need to do, what do we have? The potassium. I'll put in my vitamin C. I'll put in the calcium, 2 calcium videos, and the magnesium. I'll create that group right after this, or I'll make that Google folder. So make sure if you want to get into that Google folder, this will be different than the client folder. This will be different than the webinar folder. If Julie, make sure Julie has your Gmail address so she can give you access to that. Okay. So then, okay. If the whole test follows calcium, how could we fix the whole test if we have a low calcium? We try to raise calcium indirectly through the low calcium nutrients. Okay, so I may have to redo my PowerPoint because I've added a couple of nutrients. So the nutrients that are critical to proper vitamin D production by your body. Here's the stupid thing, right? It takes them months to die, but we want to raise vitamin D naturally. Vitamin D is the one vitamin that should be free, right? You just go out in the sun. It should be easy. And think about this. How much vitamin D do people really need? If people can live above the Arctic Circle or in Norway or Sweden where there's 6 months of the year where there's no sun, we don't need that much sun to make vitamin D. We don't need that much. We need some. You need it. You need UVB. But you don't need that much, or people would not be able to live up there. Okay? Before we had tanning booths, and before we had UVB lamps, and before we had mercury vapor bulbs, and before we had, Spurties and all that stuff. People lived up there. So we don't need that much sun. We do need it. Then we need, you want to write these down, make sure you're getting these because these are the critical things. I'm sure Erica and I went over these on the phone, but I'm just going to go over it for everybody else. To raise vitamin D, these are the nutrients that I have evidence on getting in the way of the body making vitamin D. So think of it this way. If you, I don't know, it'd be like, I can't think of a good analogy right now, but if you don't have enough magnesium, your body's trying to make vitamin D, it runs into this, we don't have enough magnesium, so it doesn't make as much vitamin D. That's what I'm talking about. There's like a bottleneck, and you can't make as much of the product. Magnesium, critical. Boron. You have to have boron to make vitamin D. Vitamin C. Vitamin E. And vitamin B6. I have studies on each one of these that shows that they are a metabolic bottleneck, that if you don't have enough of these, you will not make vitamin D, or you will make less of it. So think about these 5 nutrients. Vitamin B6, most people are probably deficient because they eat crap. Vitamin E, massive epidemic. I've seen people saying that 95% of the US population, based on dietary recall, is deficient in vitamin E. 95%. Vitamin C, if you just can't get enough vitamin C from food. Boron on hair tests is like gone on just about everybody. And then magnesium. If you don't know about the magnesium deficiency epidemic and you're here with me on this, I would wonder how you figured out about me, because you should have heard about magnesium by now. So we have 5 nutrients in the way of vitamin D production that are all said to be epidemically deficient. Shockingly, we have a vitamin D deficiency epidemic that a lot of people are getting injections or taking pills, and they're like, my vitamin D level's not coming up. I don't understand. All those studies on those nutrients showed that even when they gave vitamin D to the animals, it didn't raise their vitamin D levels as much as it should have if they had those nutrients in them. So even when people take vitamin D, when you talk to them, they're like, my vitamin D levels just aren't coming up on my blood test. My doctor's giving me 5,000 a day. He took me up to 10,000 a day. It's still not going up, or it's still not okay for him or her. That's these nutrients. That's why they're not coming up. So that's what's going on. So anyway, so Erica, I would say the biggest thing we can work on in terms of your whole nutrient profile across the hair test would be the light source and those 5 nutrients. And looking at your hair test, we go through magnesium. So let's see, calcium and magnesium. Magnesium, the bar is just barely taller. Magnesium's barely taller than calcium, so you're doing okay on your magnesium. There's the thought that if you raise your magnesium even more, it'll pull up your calcium, which if you put enough magnesium in the system, it might help your production of vitamin D. Vitamin D is what raises calcium. So that's the connection. That's how that happens. So then we were talking about magnesium. What was the next one? Boron. Boron. I want boron in the white area. Her boron is in the low-ish, as I call it, area. So we would want to do boron. We want to do a pill. If you've been doing 1 pill, then I would bump that person up to 2 pills a day. Do them both at night. What else do we have? B6. We just do the B vitamin option in the treatment plan. We have 3 options for people to choose from. We do a B vitamin option to make sure they're getting some B6. And for those of you who worked with me when I was using Royal Jelly doesn't do enough B6. I don't use it anymore. It's not enough B6 for what I need. But taking B6 supplements will drastically lower copper. And then you cause another problem. So we only want to use B6 when we need, like isolated B6 when we need to, like high dose isolated B6 when we got to bring down copper. The rest of the time, we're just trying to give the body what it needs, just basic covering the bases in terms of B6. I don't like mega dosing B vitamins. That's a drug effect. That's not nutrition. Magnesium, B6, boron we went over. We have vitamin E and vitamin C. You don't get to see anything about vitamin C and vitamin E on a hair test. People just need them. Funny thing, vitamin D supplements will lower hepcidin, which is the iron regulating hormone, which then increases iron overload. So vitamin D supplements will tend to increase iron overload. Vitamin C and vitamin E are critical nutrients for the body to regulate iron properly. So that could be how vitamin C and vitamin E are tied into vitamin D and therefore calcium levels. But anyway, so I would work on the big thing about the nutrient thing. I would work on especially the light. The light is usually, if people are on my approaches where we're going to hit B6, we're going to hit magnesium, we're going to hit boron, we're going to hit vitamin C, we're going to hit vitamin E, and they still have low calcium, then it's usually light. And if I recall, Erica, I think you lived somewhere pretty dark. So that would be that. Okay. You know, one of the things that I do like I have a relative who is doing it is to kind of help fix eating patterns during the day is the precision nutrition. It's kind of like a nutrition coaching program, but they're giving you more of concepts like I do versus like just eat this much of this and just eat this much of this and just eat this much of this. So I do like the precision nutrition stuff. They do work a lot on habits and figuring out those patterns and how to change your habits and all that stuff. So I do like that if people are interested in losing weight. So yeah, we got to move. We got to get enough nutrients so that we can turn down the body's need for excessive nutrients through getting excessive calories. Just walking more. Like, I know if like there's some days where I'm working here and I'm getting like 3,000 steps a day, 2,000 steps a day. How could anybody, that's like sloth-ish. And it's because I'm just sitting here doing treatment plans, talking on the phone, talking on Skype. So we just need to walk more. Figure out any single way you can walk. Oh, and let yourself get cold. Your body will have to burn calories to stay warm. Going out all bundled up, keeping all your body's temperature in there so you don't get cold is a great way to keep your body the same as it is. Cold exposure on a regular basis where you're actually developing more tolerance to it means your brown fat is turning on and your brown fat can start burning the white fat. It's very simple. If you want to look into that further, the Wim Hof app, there's a phone app. It's free. You can learn the basics of the Wim Hof thing, and they're talking about cold exposure and breathing exercises and other stuff like that. And it's cool. I like it. I've done it. I'm into my second round of it this time, and I'm liking it a lot more than I did the first time. And I'm getting like straight into cold showers when it's like in the 30s here outside. So it works. But let me see what else was on your question. I set down my phone. I think we're getting close to being, what do we got? We got about 10 minutes. 10 minutes left. Okay. Sorry, we're looking at your macros. Blood sugar okay, so blood sugar dysregulation. We're still talking about the calories and the nutrients. Erica, I do not recall. We have the blood tests. We do. Yeah. So here we have vitamin D 19.6. People who know, I mean, I'm only shooting for vitamin D between a 26 and a 40, which is where the lowest mortality rates, the lowest risk of death from any cause has been shown. Vitamin D between 26 and 40. When I see getting those nutrients fixed should bring that up. So that would be a big thing. That will be turning on all sorts of stuff. So let me see. Okay, Kathy, we talked on email about the antibodies, the thyroid stuff. I posted a comment with a link to how cancer and heart disease rates are going up in this country. And when you think of this country and you think of what people are, what the mainstream is shoving on people, you know, you're hearing about ketosis. You're hearing about fasting now, or intermittent fasting. I'm not against fasting when people are in the right state to do it. You know, don't eat fruit because it has sugar. Oh my gosh, you know. And so I'm hearing this stuff, and then like when this country has a vitamin D obsession, taking it, and then I post the stats about how osteoporosis is going up. Should that be happening? Should heart disease and osteoporosis go up if vitamin D is the cure to them all? Maybe it's making it worse. Nobody looks at it from that. So I posted that thing about how cancer death rates and heart death rates from the CDC are going up. So are they dropping? Yes. You asked it, why aren't they dropping? They're dropping. It's there. It's there. But antibodies, we are trying to get the immune system to stop attacking itself. There may be a viral issue. If there is high iron issue, an iron overload issue, there is going to be a pathogen issue. Oh, you're welcome, Erica. I saw your thank you there. So if there's a calcium issue or there's an iron issue, there's an immune issue. And we got to fix that. And then Kathy and I she brought this up and we've been discussing it about using pig thyroid, like nature thyroid or RLC thyroid, or Armor versus T4 and T3. So you get them separate. You get the pharmaceutical one, T4 separate, pharmaceutical T3 separate. You want to give them together in the right combination for the person, if you're going to do that. And then it takes out all the antigenic, all the flesh stuff from pigs. And there's a reason, I believe, why in older religions they're not big on pork. Pork is just not very good for people. I don't care what people present to me. I don't feel good on it. Matt Stone doesn't feel good on it. Lots of people have just said, don't eat pork. Pork has parasites in it that can survive really crazy cooking. Pork is just not good. I think pork depletes magnesium or something, because a lot of people who eat pork, they get magnesium deficiency symptoms after they eat it. I don't think pork's good for you. So that's why when we were talking about your antibodies and you were on the Armor and you brought up the other doctor thought about it might be the pig thyroid, or did I bring that up? I don't know. And anyway, I was like, it could be something to try. Always remember, your health is like when people aren't interested in their health and they aren't going to trial and error things to see, does this make me feel better, or do I feel better when I do this? Or they just want some other practitioner to come in and say, you need to do this because this will make you feel better. And then people do it and they don't feel better. And then they're like confused as all get out. You try things. Inventors, to make great inventions, try things. You want good health? You try things and you observe. You don't listen to what somebody else tells you about how you're supposed to feel. You see how you feel. You pay attention. Isn't that most of life is just paying attention? You pay attention to how you feel. If you feel better, generally that if you feel better over time and it's continuing, then you can do more of that. You don't feel good right away. That's not, either you did it wrong or it's not for you. So if you think you did it wrong or you think there's another way to try it, perfect example, vitamin C. So ascorbates, ascorbic acid, they're different. But if somebody tries ascorbic acid and they're like, my stomach did not get along with that at all. I don't get along with vitamin C. I'm not going to take any extra vitamin C because I don't get along with it. No. You tried one type, we're going to try the other. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah, the sodium ascorbate was fine. That's it. So, I need to know, I don't know if it's Yannick or Yannick. So if you want to help me with the pronunciation somewhere, that would be great. I'm just going to go with Yannick. Okay, mineral balance and skin, mental health, digestion. Is there connections between this stuff? Oh yeah. Is it easy to just you got the webinar now, so you'll get into that, but skin. The biggest thing with skin is getting the calcium down and then vitamin E. And then fixing potassium, because skin is very related to thyroid. High calcium, low potassium. Remember this? We've been over this a couple times. This will come up all the time. Calcium and potassium. Like I gave a kid who was in high school, he was having really bad acne. And this was one of the first times I gave him cod liver oil. This was in like my first couple years. So, I forgave myself since then. But I gave him cod liver oil and it just went away. I don't know whether the kid had low calcium or not. I think it was the vitamin A that helped his skin. Think of vitamin A and vitamin E. Vitamin A fixes, let me think, high calcium, low potassium. Vitamin A pushes calcium down. It is the anti-vitamin D. So if vitamin D does this, vitamin A tries to do this, but vitamin A is not very good at bringing this one up. It doesn't help bring up potassium much. It does bring down calcium. And long term, as I'm working with people over the years, we are trying to figure out how much vitamin A they need so it doesn't push their calcium down too much once we get it under control. Like for Erica, with low calcium at an 18, we don't want to give too much vitamin A for sure, because we don't need to just push it down more than we need to. But right now, that balance is a vitamin D balance. That's what we need to fill in. But skin, correcting calcium, getting enough potassium, and vitamin E. And then if people are doing vitamin C, this is a clinical thing. If people are doing vitamin C and their skin is flaring up, or new things flare up on their skin, or old things flare up on their skin, lower the vitamin C or drop the vitamin C and bump up the vitamin E, and that should clean it up. And then you figure out the vitamin C later. Once you clear it up and you got the vitamin E straight, then you start trying different vitamin C's, different types of vitamin C's, different amounts of vitamin C's. You see, as long as you find one that works, you're good. So, okay, what else do we have? Mineral balance and skin, mental health. The biggest thing, the two easiest connections. Sorry, I'm Maddie, I'll get to that in a sec, but it could be, Maddie, it could be vitamin E, could be connected. I mean, if you have constipation and you're having dry skin, and you get tons of sun, that pattern is pointing to calcium. And if I don't have a hair test, I don't know where your calcium is. So I would say it sounds like calcium, but I don't know. Because I'd hate to have you have low calcium and then I go and I give you vitamin A and I make it lower. So that's, we're playing with very powerful things, right? We're playing with human nutrition. This is what you're made of. So we don't just, let me give you a story about a guy who came to me on my Facebook. He took crazy high doses of vitamin D, screwed himself up. Like he was having mental issues from taking way too much vitamin D. And he found my stuff. Obviously, you'd already figured out that vitamin K doesn't protect you from the damage of vitamin D. It may make it less, but it doesn't protect you. So then he started megadosing vitamin A based on reading my stuff. He thought, this is a guy, he's a do-it-yourselfer. He's going to kill himself with his own bright ideas. He ended up getting symptoms of vitamin D toxicity and vitamin A toxicity. You can't, if you're going down the wrong path, stop going that way. Turn around. Two wrongs don't make a right. Too much vitamin D and not enough, and too much vitamin A together, they're fat-soluble vitamins. Those are the ones you could overdose. Don't do that. So anyway, what I'm getting at is calcium is important, and it's the most important mineral I can assess on a hair test. Iron, I need blood tests. Those are the two ones that if there's too much of them, they screw everything up. But you don't want to bring them down if you don't know if they're low. If they're low, you don't want to bring them down more. So, but you have a pattern that suggests high calcium, Maddie. So I can't do anything about that until I see it. But mental health. Two biggest things that affect mental health. A lot of people's mental issues are simply from blood sugar dropping, if you want to call it that. Hypoglycemia swings. They get really angry or irritable or moody or weepy. When their blood sugar drops, they get wonky. How do we fix that? The biggest things to help fix blood sugar, bringing down the calcium. You heard that before? And getting magnesium to go up. Magnesium is one of the major controllers of blood sugar. Okay, and a lot of people feel calmer when they do their topical magnesium, and then you go, oh, it's affecting their mental health because their blood sugar's stable. Their body's not like worried about when it's going to need to get its next fix because it's not maintaining the blood sugar itself. Blood sugar problems are the body not maintaining it itself. So we have to try to give the body what it needs to regulate blood sugar itself. Not restrict carbs. Restricting carbs to try to fix a blood sugar problem is like not putting enough gas in your car because your car's not running right. And then you end up with two problems. Your car's still not running right, and you didn't put enough gas in it. You have to have the right parts in the machine for the machine to run right. If the machine's not running right, and you've always put in the same, carbs, and now the body can't handle the carbs, the problem's not the carbs. The problem is how your body's dealing with the carbs. Okay? So a lot of people's mental issues are just blood sugar swings. You get rid of the blood sugar swings, they're like, yeah, I don't really have any issue with that anymore. And you go, oh, well, okay. Anxiety and depression. High calcium. There it is again. But this one relates to thyroid. Anxiety and depression are two sides of the same coin. Almost always go with thyroid. Think of depression as fatigue of the brain. So think of fatigue of the body. You're not making enough energy in the body. Fatigue of the brain is depression. What's the best mineral on the whole test generally to help people's energy that day and all the rest of them? To make sure they get enough potassium. Funny that potassium is related to the thyroid ratio and thyroid is related to anxiety and depression. It's all tied together. So calcium is just always there. Calcium, 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 calcium. We got to fix that. Then we get into magnesium for the blood sugar stuff, potassium for the energy stuff, anxiety and depression. As soon as I hear anxiety or depression, I'm like, potassium. Is it always that? No, nothing is always anything. but that's the easiest thing to fix, the first. So, okay, digestion. Calcium to phosphorus ratio is one way of looking at digestion. High calcium slows down digestion, reduces stomach acid production. So then your digestion, especially of protein, is worse. Phosphorus, we just fix. Phosphorus is easy to fix. But vitamin D will also tend to lower phosphorus. So we got to get the vitamin D problem removed. That's what the hair test process does. And then the two biggest nutrients that are most important to stomach acid production are potassium and vitamin C. Those are the ones that nobody talks about, but those are the two most important ones. Funny that, so here's the ironic thing. We have stomach acid because we were designed to be able to eat meat. We have to have stomach acid. But the funny thing is what I found in my research is the two most important nutrients to fixing stomach acid problems, low stomach acid problems, are potassium and vitamin C. And what group of foods do we find potassium and vitamin C in? Is it animal products? Try fruit. So you're saying we need to eat like fruit and vegetables, potassium and vitamin C, to be able to digest meat? Like you got to do one so you can do the other? Right? Remember when I talked about vegan versus like all meat and how the balance of humans is probably designed, it's probably designed to be over towards more plant foods, less animal foods. You have to eat the plant foods to earn the right to eat the animal foods if you want to be healthy long term. People who live over 100 in the blue zones, they don't eat much meat, and that's 7 different areas of the world. It's a pattern. Now, you want to be a warrior, you want to be a fighter, you eat more meat. Get bigger, get stronger, get meaner, right? Warriors are not known for longevity. Sorry. Pro athletes are not known for longevity. So maybe they're doing something wrong, but maybe what they're doing is what they need to do to be the best in their sport or to crush other people's skulls because that's their job or that's what they enjoy doing for whatever sick way, right? Warriors need more protein. More protein generally leads to more meat. People who are peaceful and want to help others, mostly plants, but humans need a little bit of meat, and that's what the blue zones people do. They eat about 4 ounces of actual like meat, like red meat or chicken a week. They're still eating fish, and they're eating eggs, and they may do some dairy. They're probably getting like raw organic sheep dairy from the farmer down the street. You know, it's a lot better than what we're getting here. But anyway, the plant foods help you to be able to eat the animal foods. So that's the stomach acid digestion thing. So calcium to potassium ratio and potassium and vitamin C. So then let me see. I think I got them. I think I got through all the questions and I think we're out of time. So I'm sorry about the light. I know the lighting's terrible, but anyway, and I've been sleeping rough because the full moon right now don't ever think that the full moon doesn't affect sleep. So if you see these little bags, that's because I have not been sleeping well for the full moon. And that's just a monthly thing for me. It sucks, but it happens. So I will try to get the lighting a little better for the next video. If you guys have any questions for the next week, I'll put up another post for the questions for next week. I will make the Google folder. Remember, you have to have a Gmail account to access the Google folder, and I will save this video. It'll be on this group, probably over in the videos section, and then I will also put it, I'll just have it in this group. Okay, so until next time, hope y'all have a great week. And just remember, if you missed the live, it'll be on the thing, and if you ask your question, I'm going to try to get to it. So, okay, see y'all next week.